In today's video, I'm going to discuss why not doing something is also a decision and why not making a decision is probably one of the most important decisions you can make in your life. Now, very often people confuse decision making with productivity. And therefore, what people try to do is that they try to make a plethora of decisions and then they feel that they are very productive and they are accomplishing a lot. But if you step back and scrutinize the various decisions you have made in your life, you will find that a majority of those decisions were actually counterproductive and probably did not yield any substantial returns. So, one of the important things to do is to not make a decision and to give importance to the fact that saying no, not making a decision, and postponing a decision indefinitely are sometimes better options than making a decision and acting on it. So let's look at some examples to make this more concrete. Suppose you make a decision to do a PhD and you have not scrutinized this decision substantially. Then sometime down the road you are going to regret this decision severely, because these are some of the decisions that are unidirectional. So once you have done a PhD, you have changed as a person. You are not the same person you were before you did a PhD. And it's going to become very difficult for you to do many things in life which normal people do. Let's say you now decide to do a postdoc. So again, this decision may actually further take you on this particular path of research, and therefore it will become more and more difficult for you to get out of this path. So again, think a lot about this decision before you make it. In many cases, it may be better not to do a postdoc, to straight away jump into any job you can get at that point, whether it be in the corporate sector, as a teaching faculty somewhere, or a small company, or even starting your own startup. So think deeply about this particular decision. Now let's look at studying science and technology. Many people are cajoled into studying science and technology because of pressure from their parents, because they have heard of very high salaries being paid by the computer firms and so on. What they do not realize is the enormous amount of work required in studying the science and technology discipline, and the fact that you have to become somewhat of a reclusive person to study these disciplines. There is a lot of sacrifice which goes in studying science and technology disciplines at the bachelor's level, and certainly at the master's and PhD level if you do these things. So keep in mind that whenever you are signing on to a decision about studying any STEM field, it's a very major decision. And maybe you should take a deep look at yourself. Maybe you should look at your real predilections. Would you be interested in business? If you want to make a lot of money, it's probably simpler to make money in business through stock markets, through real estate, than to try to make this kind of money through a job. Because what people look at are people having jobs after 10 or 20 years of service in a company. But when people start out, the salary is pretty less. And therefore keep this particular thing in mind. Now let's say some people have a predilection towards traveling and they want to travel a lot. They want to drive around the whole country. They want to drive during the night to various places, take part in the nightlife and so on. Now all these decisions lead to the greater probability of getting into car accidents, getting stopped by the police, maybe getting into trouble in different ways and so on. So again, deciding not to travel is a good decision. In many cases, it actually brings down risk. The more you travel, the more you drive at night, the greater the probability that you will have problems. Buying a house. Many times people decide to buy a house too soon in their life, and then they are stuck to a place geographically. They cannot apply for jobs in different states, in different countries. They are limited in terms of their mobility. They are not portable. Therefore, again, not making this decision is probably a good decision. not buying a car. A car can turn into a sink for money. A car can make you feel that you should use the car, that you should travel a lot. It will actually complicate your life. So, again, it may be a good decision not to buy a car. Maybe rent a car when you need it. Maybe take public transportation. Same thing about buying some stock which a person has told you to buy randomly. You buy a tech stock, the stock plummets, you lose a lot of money. You try day trading, you lose a lot of money. Not making these decisions is probably a better decision. So basically, the point here is that you should put a huge time gap or space between the conceptual concept of a decision and actually doing something. Now, this is often frowned upon by society, which calls it procrastination. But it's not negative if this particular space prevents you from making a bad decision. And it's better to make no decisions than to make a bad decision, because a bad decision may get you killed figuratively and literally. So this is something to keep in mind. So the general philosophy is that if you miss a train, don't run trying to catch the train, because there is a possibility you may fall down and you may get killed. It's probably better to wait for the next train. So similarly, in many situations in life, you should always consider the fact that not making a decision now is okay, and you can always make a decision later. And this will save you in many situations which you may later regret. So I hope this video was useful to you, and this runs counter to a lot of the modern thinking. But it's become extremely important because in the modern day, we are bombarded with information and stimulus from all sorts of digital media, marketing campaigns, and so on. And therefore, the need to put a space between all the stimulus which you receive and the action which you do has become more and more important. Thank you for listening to me, and stay tuned to my channel for more videos. See you later.